you know, so sometimes things are tricky, you know what I mean? And it's a little bit more difficult than just making the fight happen. But like I said, I'm pushing to make the biggest.
It now appears that the feared Mexican powerhouse David Benavidez, who spent years chasing a fight with Canelo Alvarez, could potentially turn down a massive showdown with current pound-for-pound star Terence Crawford. A matchup between two elite fighters would be one of the biggest challenges in boxing. But Benavidez's future plans and career goals could determine whether this highly anticipated fight ever becomes a reality.
Tweeted after the Canelo Crawford fight, asking like, hey, could you maybe come down to one?
But just as quickly as the rumors started gaining momentum, David Benavidez stepped forward and shut them down, offering an explanation that surprised many fans. His decision appeared less like an emotional reaction and more like a calculated career move focused on his long-term goals. It felt like the closing of one chapter and the beginning of a new mission for Benavidez. Then came September 13th, a night full of anticipation, when Terence "Bud" Crawford accomplished what many believed was impossible by moving up in weight and delivering a masterful performance to defeat the legendary Canelo Alvarez.
A couple of times, and he looked spectacular. Congratulations to Terence Crawford for that great performance, and man, it was a great fight.
Were you expecting more from Canelo?
I was expecting a lot more. I was expecting Canelo to knock out Crawford, to be honest with you, because it's a three-weight divisions. Well, he did fight one time, the higher division, but and for me, it's three weights, you know. He had to go up a lot in weight, and that's what I was expecting. But at the end of the day, you know, I got to give respect to Canelo. You know, he has done so much in boxing that it will be hard for somebody else to achieve and make. He trained hard, you know, and he himself, he said that he tried, but the body did not respond. And I've been saying that, you know, the body is worn out, you know. Canelo is young, but in boxing life.
As the boxing world continued reacting to Crawford's incredible performance, Turkey Alashik created even more excitement by posting a simple question about whether David Benavidez could still make the 168-pound limit. Almost immediately, speculation started growing and fans began discussing the possibility of a massive showdown. Benavidez, the undefeated two-time champion known for his power, pressure, and aggressive style, has long been viewed as one of the most dangerous fighters in the division. The idea of Crawford's elite skills and precision going up against Benavidez's non-stop pressure created instant buzz. With huge financial potential and global attention, the matchup quickly became one of the most talked about possibilities in boxing.
I think Terence is really funny. I love the way he lives his life. I love the way he brings his kids. You know, if you watch his kids with the wrestling and stuff like that, he's just a winner. And I feel that, you know, you got guys who are really, really, really good, and they're not really hell-bent on becoming a star. I put you in that category. I put Terence in that category. Maybe Shakur, where they feel like they don't really want to, like, Terence ain't bothered about going to premieres and, you know, like being on the front cover of magazines and stuff like that. But unfortunately, in the business, we have to try and make sure he has that kind of value commercially. So it's getting the narrative and the moments right to just show.
But just when it seemed like the fight was becoming inevitable, the momentum suddenly came to a stop. The growing excitement faded as David Benavidez stepped forward and made his position clear, shutting down the speculation with a firm statement. In an interview with Fight Hype TV, Benavidez explained that his time at super middleweight is over and that he has no intention of returning to the 168-pound division.
To this fight, I want to go down to 154.
No.
No, bro. Honestly, I'm done with cruiserweight. You know, I want to take this opportunity, though. Yes, I said cruiserweight. Yeah.
His stance left no room for doubt. This was not a negotiation tactic or a way to create leverage. Benavidez presented it as a firm decision. He made it clear that he has no plans to return to 168 pounds, not even for a massive fight with Canelo Alvarez. Benavidez emphasized that he was being honest about his future, even stating that the division now belongs to Terence Crawford, while making it clear that his chapter at super middleweight is officially closed.
I want to take this opportunity, though. Yes, I said cruiserweight. Yeah. I want to take this opportunity to, you know, congratulate Crawford. You know, he put a hell of a performance. He's up there in the Mount Rushmore of the greatest fighters of all time. And, you know, let Crawford do his thing, bro. You know, at the end of the day, I have no interest in fighting Crawford. I have no interest in going down to 168. I mean, yeah, it's nice that it would be dope winning all titles, but I'm way past.
When asked if a massive $120 million offer could convince him to return to 168 pounds, David Benavidez quickly dismissed the idea. He explained that his decision is not about money but about the future direction of his career. For Benavidez, this choice is based on his goals, comfort, and the legacy he wants to build moving forward.
The only reason I wouldn't even go down to 168 for Canelo, and I'm just being real with you, and let Crawford do his thing, let him have his, let him. I want to give his flowers, man, because he's a great fighter, man. There's no other fighter that's coming up from 147 to be the type of fighter like Canelo at 168. And Crawford, he's one of the greatest of all time. So, I have no interest in going down to 168. I'm not saying that I'm scared of Crawford or whatever, but Crawford is a man at 168. That's his weight class.
The real motivation behind Benavidez's decision goes beyond the struggle of making weight. It represents a calculated step toward a bigger and more ambitious chapter of his career. He is not avoiding tough challenges. Instead, he is moving forward in search of new opportunities and greater achievements that could define his legacy.
Boxing is a business, David. If they throw 100 million, 120 million to go down for either or, would you second?
20 million sounds good, but honestly, at the end of the day, no. no. But they won't give 120 million. I don't even think Canelo got 120 million for fighting Crawford, to be honest with you. But no, man, I'm done with.
Benavidez has now officially moved up to the light heavyweight division at 175 pounds and is fully focused on facing the top names in that weight class. With a new challenge ahead, he is looking to prove himself against bigger opponents and continue building his legacy at the highest level. His next major target is a showdown against Anthony Yarde, with a highly anticipated fight expected to take place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
Whatever money they want on me, and my job is not only to get the money. My job is to give myself the best chance to win and to give myself the best chance of.
He sees this matchup as more than just another fight or a chance to increase his global recognition. For David Benvdz, facing Anthony Yarde represents a major step toward his ultimate goal of becoming the top fighter in the 175-pound division and proving that he belongs among boxing's elite.
Let me know how this fight came about, because I was surprised that you went this route with Yarde.
Yeah, so there was a lot of options on the table. Obviously we wanted to get a great fight because the last fight with me and David Benvdz lived up to expectation. I think it exceeded expectations. So we wanted to give the fans a good fight. We were in line for Bivol for the belts, but unfortunately that didn't happen. So we were looking, to get a crowd-pleasing fight, and we're trying to fight the best in the division of 175. If it's not the champions, we want to fight the next best guys. We were looking at some options, but the only one that really manifested itself was the fight with Anthony Yarde, and I think this is a crowd-pleasing fight. Anthony Yarde, he's a great fighter. He still has a ton of fight in him. He's been in there with Artur, Beterbiev, Kovalev. So he's been up there with, the top guys. And I feel like this is probably going to be the most he comes prepared for any fight, because he's lost his last two title fights. And, I feel like he knows that this is probably the last opportunity. Not his last opportunity, but this is, he has to take advantage of this opportunity. So I'm not taking Anthony Yarde lightly. I know he has a dog in him, I know he has a lion in him, but I have the lion in me as well. So this is going to be a perfect fight for my first fight. Grateful for this, and not only am I grateful for fighting with Riyadh season, but I'm grateful because I don't want to just be a regional fighter. I want to be a worldwide fighter, and this is the first time that I'm going to fight in a different country, in Saudi Arabia. So this is going to be a little, it's going to be a gift for the fans in Saudi Arabia. When I went over there the first time to see Bivol and Beterbiev fight, a lot of people show love. So, and I know I have a lot of fans out there. So, this is going to be a great fight for all the fans.
Benavidez remains fully confident in his ability to succeed, believing that a victory would move him closer to facing the biggest names in the light heavyweight division, including Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev. In his view, his path to greatness is no longer about dominating the division he once ruled, but about challenging himself against the very best at 175 pounds. He is choosing long-term legacy over short-term financial rewards, convinced that his true impact on boxing will be defined by what he accomplishes at light heavyweight.
Weight division 175 pounds. You have the undisputed champion in Dmitry Bivol, who's reigning, but he has we think a rubber match with Artur Beterbiev scheduled at some point. Has it been told to you, David, that if you win this fight, you're going to get a crack at either Bivol or Beterbiev?
I mean, yeah, it's not, they haven't told me specifically that, but you know, I mean, just in the trajectory of what I'm doing, what I am, you know, I'm world champion at 175 with the WBC, so it's inevitable. It's just when it's gonna happen. You know what I mean? I take my career one fight at a time. You know what I mean? I don't really let other fights kind of get into my brain. You know, I'm getting ready for Anthony Yard. I'm 100% focused on Anthony Yard, and whatever comes next, comes next. But as for what I'm thinking of, you know, that's, what else is there left? What other fights you guys want to see me fight? You know what I mean? Especially that we're here with Turki Al-Sheikh. We're getting these fights done. In my opinion, a fight with Beterbiev or Bivol is next. You know what I mean?
But Benavidez wasn't the only one putting an end to the potential mega fight. The conversation shifted even further when Terence Crawford's team also showed little interest in making the matchup happen. Crawford's longtime trainer, Brian McIntyre, quickly dismissed the idea of Benavidez being Crawford's next opponent. When asked directly about the fight, he gave a clear response, stating, "No, that fight is not happening." He also explained that the priority right now is allowing Crawford to rest and recover after an intense 6-month training camp leading up to the Canelo Alvarez fight.
We're going to get back in the gym. We're going to get back in the gym, and we're going to assess that. And, you know, right now, I just want him to go on vacation, have some fun, spend time with his family, because we trained for like probably a half a year for that fight. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of time spent away from home, a lot of time spent away from the family. So I just want him to just go.
In fact, he went even further, insisting that Crawford should take a proper break, spend time with his family, and recover instead of immediately entering another demanding training camp. His comments made it clear that a fight with Benavidez was never part of Crawford's immediate plans. Looking at the bigger picture, it appears that both sides are moving in different directions, with neither Benavidez nor Crawford's team currently viewing the matchup as a priority.
Canelo, Turkey,
People are talking about it.
Turkey hit it at that. He was like Benavidez.
Yeah, he
Turkey,
did. So Turkey just posted that this morning, wondering if Benavidez can make 168. Maybe he has plans or ideas of maybe trying to match up Benavidez and Terence Crawford.
No,
maybe planning on vacating the belt.
No, we ain't gonna vacate the belt. So, you know, we just gonna sit where we need to sit for a minute, and then, just like I said, get back in the gym.
To truly understand Benavidez's mindset, you have to look back at his long and difficult pursuit of a fight with Canelo Alvarez. Canelo, one of boxing's biggest stars and a dominant champion, was the matchup Benavidez wanted most, but the fight never came together despite years of discussion and fan demand. That prolonged chase appears to have created frustration for Benavidez with the opportunities available at 168 pounds. His move up in weight is not just a career decision. It represents a fresh start, a chance to leave that chapter behind and begin a new journey focused on bigger challenges at light heavyweight.
Of a person that Canelo is, he's going to be, oh, well, I didn't prepare for that fight, but now I'm prepared, this and that. You know, there's another storyline behind that. Because of the way he lost. He didn't go in there and get just beat up and destroyed the whole fight. It just didn't look like he prepared at all. And the fighter that was prepared, was Crawford. So, there could still be a big storyline, 175. Like I said, he could say, oh, well, now I'm motivated. Now I have a reason to train, now this and that. And it'll be a title fight for 175. So, everything is still possible right now. I think Canelo, what is he, like 35?
So I think it's 33.
33, yeah. And then imagine Crawford was 38.
38, yeah.
So I mean, I don't, I'm not focused on Canelo. I got my own stuff going on, but if there might be a way to make that fight happen. So like I said, I'm not really worried about that. I'm just thinking of
watching Crawford dominate the same opponent he had spent years trying to face may have given Benavidez the final clarity he needed. He saw Crawford step into the ring with incredible precision, discipline, and confidence, reinforcing the belief that taking on certain risks at the highest level requires a special mindset. For Benavidez, this moment appears to represent the closing of the Canelo chapter once and for all. Instead of continuing to chase a fight that never happened, he is now focused on building a new legacy at light heavyweight, one defined by bigger challenges, new opponents, and future achievements rather than past frustrations.
Canelo was making. And I know all these people say, oh, yeah, talking shit about Canelo. I'm not talking shit about him. He just didn't look like he really prepared 100%. Just throwing 10 punches around. Or I think his ego is that big that he thought that, oh, I'm just going to walk through him, catch him with a good shot, and it's going to be done. As you can see, Crawford is a different type of fighter. Not only has he had the boxing IQ, he has that dog in him. He was in there. He was brawling. If I'm being honest with you, bro, I'm not happy that he lost. I kind of feel like that could have been me. That was my moment. You know what I mean? If I would have gone in there, I know I would have beat him. You know what I mean? So I don't want to be a hater, but that's kind of how I feel. But you know what I mean? I give all the flowers to Crawford. You know what I mean?
That should have been me in there.
This firm decision also reflects a deeper transformation in Benavidez as both a fighter and a person. He is no longer viewed as the same young contender who faced criticism for past mistakes. Instead, he has spoken openly about his growth, learning from those experiences and becoming a more disciplined, focused athlete. Through reflection and personal development, Benavidez has developed a more balanced mindset that extends beyond boxing. Outside the ring, he now places greater importance on his responsibilities as a father and husband, giving him a clearer perspective on what truly matters. This maturity has helped shape his goals, with his focus now centered on greatness, long-term success, and building a lasting legacy. In this context, turning down a potential fight with Crawford is not about avoiding competition or acting out of ego, but rather a calculated decision from a fighter who understands his vision and the direction he wants his career and life to take.
And you were younger.
I was 22. From seeing what I did to him in those sparring sessions, I'm very confident I'll win. But I'm not gonna, be a fool and just use confidence as 100% fuel. I'm gonna go in there and work extremely hard.
You're looking to go up to 175 pounds and potentially get the winner out of Beterbiev and Bivol.
That's why I want to be a part of these big fights too, because as you know, both you guys know, once you get a really good fighter in front of you, the training camp is different. The mentality is different. And when you get in that ring, you shine. That's what I want for myself. I want to be put in them hard positions where you have to use 100% of your skills. And that's why I feel like the best will come out of me. So I'm not scared of it. So whatever it is, even if light heavyweight isn't my final destination, I really want to go up to cruiserweight.
Ooh, so that's cruiserweight, just another, you're a weight class away from going to actual heavyweight.
Yeah. But we're going to move one step at a time. We got light heavyweight. That's a division I've been wanting to go to for a long time.